Welcome to the Numerology and Astrology for 7/31/2021, last day of July or getting ready to go into August. If you add all those numbers together, we get the number 16, and if you add the 1 and the 6 together, you get the number 7. The number 7 supports each of us in understanding appropriate boundaries. That means boundaries with others and recognizing that some people prefer a bit more distance for many reasons, COVID only being one of them. After a year and a half of being more separated, has turned a lot of us into hermits. Perhaps that is good. Perhaps it is to help us learn to respect the needs of others in such times, and perhaps we are learning that we might have needed more space than we realized also. Sometimes boundaries show up as needing time to figure things out, time to get over what we are feeling and the things that we are personally up against. No matter what, your physical space in relationship to others needs to be respectful and kind. Everyone has been through the same stresses in the last year and a half, and we are all a bit fried and nerves are raw. We need to learn to respect the boundaries of others, even if we disagree with them. Intentionally pushing into the personal space of others is aggressive, rude, and can cause trauma. Besides, we don't want to look like a bully or a perpetrator. The astrology today. As the moon tries to comfort us in the stabilizing and nurturing sign of Taurus, we may feel as if we need a break from a lot of little things that are getting under our skin. Mercury and Neptune continue to disorient us with a minor square. Take a bit more time than you need to get things done or to where you are going. People may want to give you a piece of their mind. Best to avoid confrontations for now. It may seem hard to figure out where you are at moments today. 1 minute, we may feel happy, idealistic, and in the flow. Then, the next minute, everything seems confusing and difficult to handle. It may feel as if we don't know our own mind. The Sun and Mercury seem to have a pleasant exchange with the asteroid Juno and the North Node. Use this to strengthen bonds that pull us together and allow for the exchange of trust and support. Put a bit more effort into the things that are drawing you in and take extra time to let the mind sort out the various pieces of information coming into our awareness. This is a time for growth, and I am grateful for those that want to rise to the occasion and make a difference. My quote for today: in the great tree of life, we are all leaves. In the great oceans of our world, we are all drops of water. In the circle of life, we are all essential pieces in that wheel. And my blog for today. So much has changed, and I believe it is for the greater good. I look at what happened with Simone Biles, and I remember being a dancer, sick, 3 times with pneumonia in Berlin, and the ballet company kept getting me more antibiotics to keep me performing because there were so many dancers out with injuries. So the ballet mistress had connections and I kept taking the pills acquired because I did not want to disappoint or get taken out of any roles. The end result was waking up one morning, 3 a.m., and realizing that I was dying. I called my friend John Skripek, and he took a cab over, and he told me to go unlock the front door and also the outside door to the building because, the locks in Berlin had those fancy magnetic locks at the time, and so if you didn't open them, you actually couldn't get in. And honestly, I don't remember opening either door, but he found me delirious and lying across the outside door with 105 fever, using my body to keep the door open. He picked me up and took me back inside my apartment and called his friend who was a doctor. Now, in Berlin at that time, doctors did not make house calls, but in this case he did. And I remember him shaking me and asking me what drugs I was on. The doctor thought I was having some sort of an overdose, and I managed to respond to look in my mirrored cabinet in the bathroom, and he came back with antibiotics, and he said, this is what you are taking? And I nodded, and then he asked how long I had been taking it, and I said 3 months, and I saw his face go into shock. Evidently, that was a really strong antibiotic, and being on it for that long, I had completely collapsed my immune system. And I was very sick. I was at the edge of dying, the type of sick that hospitalizes you. In fact, I don't remember 3 weeks of my life, with the exception of a bird in my friend's house talking to me in German and Spanish. Everything is a blur. When I finally came out of it, I looked like an Auschwitz victim. I was 105 pounds and I am 5 foot 10 inches. And even for a ballet dancer, that looks like a scarecrow. It looks like an Auschwitz victim. I could barely stand and I could not go up the stairs. After that, you would think that I would have learned that my own health is more important than the show. But dancers and athletes are strong minded, and that's what gives them that tremendous discipline to keep on keeping on. During the old days of ballet, with all the Russian training that I had, I learned that my feet bleeding through pointe shoes was not an excuse to take them off. Once I got to Ballet West in Utah, one rehearsal, my feet were bleeding through my shoes, and my friend Marianne saw me and said in alarm, Suzanne, your feet are bleeding through your shoes. You need to take them off and put on regular ballet shoes. But I looked at her like she was insane and said, if I take them off, they will hurt more. She stared at me incredulously, then ordered 2 male dancers to tackle me so that she could take my shoes off, and promptly went up to the ballet mistress and told her that my feet were bleeding and that I would do the rehearsal in ballet shoes. There are many more such stories. You can't imagine how many there are. I remember completely understanding why, in 1986, why Mary Lou Retton could not step back from doing that last vault even though she was injured. I understand the adrenaline that can override physical pain and injury. I understand the old mentality of the teachers back then that pushed you to win no matter what. And then I think of the tremendous shift that Simone Biles has done. She's shown us a new path and a way to deal with the tremendous stresses of performing. I think she is healthier in her mind than I personally was in my younger years. I think that even though she has pulled out, her choice shows perspective and maturity, and her coaches are to be commended for allowing her to listen to her intuition that knew that this was not right and she was not in the right headspace to do these tremendously difficult things she had been known for. To those that recognize when they need to stop, I salute you all. To those in my generation that overrode their physical body again and again because that's what we believed we were supposed to do, I salute you too. I'm with you. I'm one of you. And I think it's time that we start respecting bodies and respecting youth. And there's so many things right now about, sexual abuse for the young and, and saying, oh, they're young women, they're children, and how we have kind of said it's okay to override children. And I know that, we have child labor laws, but in certain instances with athletes and dancers, I think in the past, we definitely overrode all of that. I think now it is a much healthier space, and I see people actively out there doing things to be much more respectful and to be aware. And Simone Biles is one that showed us that way. And with what she was trying to do, it's so dangerous what she was trying to do. A misstep could break your neck. It is something that she was smart to step back, and I commend her. Thanks, everyone.